We've been married roughly about 19 years. It'll be 19 years July 1st, 2019.
We met in 1992 at LSU, Louisiana State University, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We were both attending a summer leadership conference there.
When we met, no. How we met, I had a dream that I was going to meet her at this conference, and we were going to dance, and I was going to walk her home, and that's exactly what happened at that conference. And from that day, just kind of talked on the phone, went to sleep on the phone, all that other good stuff. We became friends before we got married, but before we met, no, we were not friends. Character qualities attracted us to one another. You know, we had fun, laughed a lot. We talked a lot about a lot of different things, going in the same direction. Both had dreams of going to college, making something of ourselves. Both loved our families, and we both had good friends around us. We had a lot of things in common, and there was just something unexplainable that made us, I think, compatible. That was just bigger than what I could explain. After I met her at that conference, I came back that same weekend and I told my cousin, I was 15 years old, and I told my cousin, I said, man, I found the one. And he said, man, what are you talking about? You found the one. I said, I found the one I'm gonna be with forever. And I just really think it was a God thing at that time, because it was an instantaneous connection. It was a divine dream, and we're still here.
And I agree with everything you mentioned there. The only other thing I would add is we both had Christ in our lives, even at the age of 15. One of our first dates was at Revival at church.
I drove to her hometown, went to her home church of 12 people, and it may have been 25. But anyway,
it was a small rural church.
Yeah. But we're from the country anyway. But first date was at church Revival, and that's where I met her mom, her nephew, our nephew, and her family.
We have always been grounded. Looking back, we didn't realize it, but looking back, we've always had Christ in our lives, I would say. Right. Starting out, like I said, that was like where we would see each other on second, third, and fourth Sundays, right, because we would be at church together. But then even when we went to college together, we still kept Christ at the center. So we were both saved when we met.
Yeah, just like everybody else who knows Christ and really trying to give him more access, their ups and downs in that journey. And we've definitely been tested in it. And it's less about us, more about him. And but when we got married, we both knew him, and that was another thing, is that I didn't want to date anybody who didn't know him, and she was the same way, and it was just meant to be that both of us knew him already. That was a process. We had been together since 15. We went to college together. We broke up for about a year and a half in college, and I tried dating other people. I think she tried dating other people. But our senior year in college, it was confirmed that, we were supposed to be together. I prayed about it, really asked God to show me what I was supposed to do. And, even during the period we were broken up, we remained friends the entire time. If her car broke down, I would go pick her up. If my truck broke down, she would let me use her car.
You got sick that time?
She came pick me up from work. I couldn't drive. I had walking pneumonia. She told her friend, follow her to the mall. She picked up my truck, drove me back to the dorm, and her friend took her back to her apartment. And so we've always watched out for one another, despite, what kind of condition we were in. And so, that friendship has always been there. But, the Lord confirmed it through prayer. I went over to Scotland for about 8 months or so for school, and she was at Colorado State. And that was another prayer that I had, that, Lord, if you, keep me pure and keep me, where I don't cheat on her, that's a confirmation that I'm supposed to get married, and that's exactly what happened.
The other thing, we had the same circle of friends, so that when we were apart and we were trying to date, that became a challenge.
That was hard.
Yeah.
That was hard. When, if she would go out with another person, my boys would call me, "Yo, Neil, I just saw Ange with this guy so-and-so at this place, and this is who he is. He's a buster, this, that, and the third." So, my emotions would get all riled up, and I start feeling all depressed about it. And I think the same thing with her. If some of her friends would see me out with somebody, they tell her, because we all ran in the same circles on campus.
I would say in 2003, when we were expecting twins, and we miscarried and lost both of them, and then also lost our ability to physically bear children. That was probably one of the most difficult times, I think, in our marriage.
It also brought us closer together.
Mm-hmm.
That's when not only the marriage but the faith is tested. I know I asked a lot of questions. Why we were 6? We weren't very old, 26, 27, and we had dreamed of having a family, having kids, and it all going away really fast. And even in the adoption process, we've had several missed starts where we get selected to be the adoptive parents, and then they change their mind as we're getting ready to bring a kid home. And so, multiple kind of punches to the gut, but as Pastor would say, we're still here.
Yeah. Again, it sounds very cliche, but I think it was our faith. It was definitely our faith. When something like that happens so tragically and, totally unexpected, I think the expectation is that, you lose faith, but also sometimes you lose your mind. Mm-hmm. And I remember they sent psychologists to the room and chaplains and all of these people to talk to us. And I remember how my husband stood up after like the third person came, and he was like, I thank y'all for coming, but our faith is strong. We know that God has allowed this to happen for a reason, and we're going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And that's basically how we got through that, and a lot of love and support of our friends and family. They, were really constants for us, but I really, thank God for keeping us and also keeping our mind through that.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, despite our faith, His grace just covered us abundantly. Because I know I had weird thoughts at time, and I'm sure my wife had weird thoughts at time, just questioning, what did I do wrong? Why me? And kind of walking me through the whole Job experience, and then why not me? I'm not the only one this has happened to. But will you still love me? And my grace is still providing for you. Mm-hmm. And it still provides for us. It still covers a multitude of sins. It still reaches beyond the greatest divide, even in the midst of failures, even right now. It's God's grace. And without His grace, without His faithfulness, we would not be here. And it's just believing that, He's real and He will never end in terms of reaching out to us, calling out our names, preserving us from ourselves. That's why we're still here.
Well, we were already together, and we never thought of separating as a result of it. We just, just knew that this was a part of the journey that God had called us to before we were even born. And so that's how we walked in it. And, a lot of people, because when you go through things, people are watching you, and a lot of people, have shared how we walked through that, how that was an encouragement to them. And so, that's part of why we do the things that we do, or why God allows some things to happen. Sometimes the lesson isn't for you, but it's for others who are watching you. And so, just making sure that He gets the glory in everything. And, even in our trials and tribulations.
First and foremost, you're looking for their relationship with God. Not if they go to church. Going to church is a part of that. But once you become friends, really watching to see how that person makes decisions. Are they making decisions that reflects a relationship with Him? Are they treating people the way that God would want them to treat people? How do they treat their families? How do they treat their mother? What's the relationship with the father? If there is not one, how are they processing and handling that? Because whatever that person's background is, if you choose to move forward with that person, you're going to be inviting that into your life. So you need to know. You need to know how they handle money. You need to know about their past relationships, just so you know kind of how they dealt with people in the past, because that can be a trend. And understanding those things make a huge difference. But most, importantly, all of the things that you're looking for, you're also asking for the Holy Spirit to reveal to you and give you discernment so that you can process things properly. We can always assume things about people. We can get information, but we want the Holy Spirit to really help us to dissect it and digest it in a way that's healthy for us.
Yeah, trusting God through the process. Everything that He said, and if you see those red flags, or if you get that confirmation from the Holy Spirit that this may not be the one, or not right now, listening and obeying, because you do not want to be in a relationship with someone that God has not called you to. Marriage is hard work, even for those of us who are in relationship with Christ. It's hard work. So to be unequally yoked, for us is a non-starter, and I would encourage anyone else to not go forward until they're certain about that. And I would also we place high value on premarital counseling. That is like a requirement, I would say, because it helps you talk about issues that you would normally bring up. I may not feel comfortable just coming to you saying, so tell me about your finances, what's your credit score? But if you're in a premarital class, oftentimes finances come up, and then those are some of the conversations that you're able to have. And so I think that's key as well. And then I would also add ensuring you bring that person around your family. A lot of times we like to do things in seclusion because we don't want anybody in our business. But you have to bring your prospect, or the person you're looking to marry, around your family, so that they can see what they're stepping into, but also so that your family can kind of feel that person out, ask questions, and ensure, provide a blessing, I would say.
And one other thing to add is, don't feel pressure of a timeline that you set for yourself. God's timing is, we don't know it. And that's the hardest thing about trusting God, because we don't know what He's got in store for us. We don't know when He's going to give it to us, when He's going to open that door. But you just have to really trust that His timing is the best timing, so don't force any relationship.
Yeah, that's it.